Greetings and salutations. Welcome to episode 134 of Ref the District. I'm Nathan Perry. That's the Stoner. And do not adjust your screen. That is in the bottom corner. Trev returning to Ref the District after a very short hiatus to take care of himself. Man, we love having you back. That is definitely a full round of applause for our man Trev.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. What's up, Big E? It's glad to be back.
Big E asking in the comment section here on YouTube if saying, I hope Trev is here this week. He is, in fact, back. Of course, we stream live every Wednesday here on YouTube, also Facebook and Twitter. If you're here, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. You can also catch us on any of your favorite audio platforms. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us there because we are part of the Belief Network. They're finding great ways for us to get there. They've shared some of our content. As we keep producing, maybe you'll find us more and more on like your Alexa and maybe some websites. More on that as we continue growing, but we need your support. So every listen and every view counts. So we appreciate that. We got lots of people in the chat eager about today. We got Nicole, Gus Bus, Big E, Uptown Dre, and guy, we have quite the show for you because this was your second day of joint practices, and there's plenty to talk about in that regard. So we're looking forward to doing some conversation pieces for that. That'll be during the game. We will be breaking down the actual Ravens game that will be played on Monday Night Football. Our current plan is to actually stream that game, do a play-by-play and commentary. To clarification there, we can't legally stream the game for you, but it's Monday Night Football. You should be able to find it. Tune out the broadcasters there. Tune into us because we have some great fun, and it's like watching with your friends, and that is even better. Here in the warm-up, brought to you by Don't Sleep Energy. It's going to be your injuries and update. So we'll have plenty to talk about there, as I'm going to fix the graphic real quick because it is still bothering me.
What part of the graphic don't like? I'm trying to look for a flaw in there, but
yeah,
I don't see
don't worry. I see it, and that's all that matters. And it is going to get removed
I see
shortly once I get this up there. But
look, Trev, down in the bottom left-hand corner, I want to point it out so Nathan goes crazy.
There's nothing. That part is actually, that's not even the one I was referring to, Stoner, which is crazy. But that's going to bug me for the entire show.
Moving
along, because we're not here to talk about the technical side of the house. We're here to talk about our Washington Commanders. And well, I guess actually one thing here, we mentioned Trev coming back, and yeah, Biggie, it's not Ref without Trev. We love our man Trev. Glad he's back here. Gus Bus is asking for the old theme song with the yeah. Stay tuned. I have been trying to work a new intro or some transitions that would put that song back in here. That full disclosure, that song was something Stoner and I paid for when we first started off. So Trev wasn't actually in the song. We've tried reaching out to see if we could, make it with him in there, because it's just like Nathan and Stoner. And it was like, and Trev. But we haven't been able to work that, but we do like the rest of the parts. So we're going to work it in some way. So stay tuned for more of that. Gregory teasing Trev here. First things first, guys. Let's get through some of these injuries. Stoner, who is not practicing right now, and who should we be worried about?
The biggest worry that you probably have right now is with Logan. And his calf issue that he hasn't practiced for a week plus, maybe 10 days now even. And these past couple of days has been the first time he's actually been seen out on the field doing warm-ups. Now, he's been inside, and they say that he's been getting his work done inside with the trainers and all that. And they keep saying it's not that serious. But, last year they said the same thing.
They said about Curtis Samuel a couple of years ago.
Absolutely. So they're very coy with injuries, and I'm okay with that. I'm just saying that when they say it's not too serious, it might actually be too serious. But he's probably the biggest one. Sadiq Charles had practiced Sunday, Monday, Tuesday fully. Today he did not. He started out in practice, and again with the ones at left guard, but he couldn't finish practice today, and it was because of the same calf issue. And Trev, I don't know if you've seen Sadiq Charles' calves. They're massive. He's got like bowling balls for calves. you wouldn't believe it. But so those are probably the two biggest ones. You had some minor ones with BSJ not practicing the last couple of days. Benjamin St. Juste, of course, Chase, who's pictured here in the graphic. He's another one. Now, he went through individual drills. He's fine. They're just being cautious with Chase. And so I think those are the biggest ones. Am I missing?
No, those are probably the biggest ones. BSJ, Benjamin St. Juste also went through individual drills. Chase Young not doing the team drills, but did individual drills as well. Ben Standing on the BSJ news, Nikki J on the other news. But I mean, Washington's not alone in this, right? Because Ravens didn't play, according to Cordell Woodland, Ravens that Cordell didn't see practicing were Tyler Huntley. That's probably the biggest name. Isaiah Likely was a name that we liked. Rock Yasin, which is just a great name. And Marlon Humphrey all sat apparently today. So, I mean, this is kind of the second day of a practice. So players not necessarily doing the team drills, especially when you're going to have to face this team on Monday Night Football for a preseason game, probably not necessary to get them out there and do those team drills. Trev, Logan Thomas, though, it's not just been a today thing. He's not doing individual workouts. He's missing. Gregory here is mad that we didn't draft a tight end. So what do you think of this tight end room, especially if Logan Thomas can't suit up?
It's weak. It's a weak tight end room. I've got one in the name of John Bates, who Stoner keeps pushing for to become an offensive lineman. Although he had a good day of practice today, he caught 3 passes today, so maybe he's improving. Then you have Logan Thomas, who's just injury prone. Like, I mean, I give the guy credit from going from quarterback to tight end. That's a good, way to get a roster spot. But it seems like he's providing us with more injuries than production, and I'm not a fan of that. And we've also always said decidedly mediocre already. Now I'm starting to, as I was on my hiatus, I was thinking like, man, we need a better tight end. Logan Thomas just ain't it.
What about Cole Turner, Trev?
Cole Turner's still young. So he's probably our best prospect at tight end with the most potential to be a breakout tight end, because we saw what he did at Nevada his season before last. And so, but he was held back last season because of another calf injury. And Stoner, I think he tweeted from our account, Washington needs a calf specialist or a calf doctor or whatever, because it's always a calf injury. But our tight end room is not appealing. It's not productive. It's just
I think that they were hoping for 2 of their young guys to step up this year.
Sure.
Yeah.
One of those was Armani Rogers, who went down early with a injury. He's out for the season.
Is it his calf?
It probably. We'll definitely check. I think it was Achilles, was it maybe? Anyways, Gus Bus fact check us on the
it was Achilles.
on the SGC. So I think Armani Rogers was one, because they liked him last year and they were using him in certain packages. And I think that they were expecting him to be healthy this year. Cole Turner was a guy that they liked well enough to draft last year, and that they were kind of expecting to be a bigger part even last year. So this year they were hoping he was going to take the next step. Logan Thomas being injured is not something that they foresaw, right? Because now you're going to go with Bates, you're going to go with Cole Turner, and then Isaiah Hodges,
Curtis
Hodges, Caden Smith, who just got signed.
Yeah.
Are you going to go fullback with Arma out there? Do some old I formations with a fullback. I mean, it is not the strongest room, even with Logan Thomas. It is one that is not, I would say, in the top half of the league.
No.
How many elite tight ends are there in this league?
3.
Yeah, I'm with Nathan. I think there's 3. I think there's Kelsey.
That's 1.
Kittle. Yeah.
Oh, you can't.
He's elite. Come on, he's elite.
You can't.
Who's the 3rd?
Kittle.
Who's the third?
Guy we're facing right now, Mark Andrews.
I think he has been elite.
2nd tier at least. That might be some bias too, because he is a he is a Sooner.
The point being that you don't have to have elite tight ends. You have to have a productive tight end room, Now, I don't think that they're in. I don't think they're at the bottom half of the tight end rooms, but I also don't. They're right in the middle with the tight end rooms. They're not in the top half. They're not in the bottom half. They're right in the. A healthy Logan Thomas is a weapon. He's a weapon. You guys
Where?
know it.
In the
You've
red
seen
zone
it.
or altogether?
Altogether, he's an absolute weapon. Now, again, he's not elite, but he's not, guys you've never heard of starting at tight end in this league.
He's decidedly mediocre. That's our thing here. You can call him a jag, just another guy, but decidedly mediocre. There's nothing really wrong with that.
Right.
If you're a middle of the pack guy, I mean, there's 32 starting tight ends in this league.
Yeah,
if you're middle of the pack, that's really not that bad because you're still better than 90% of the league out there. So that's not what we're saying. By the way, it's really, you wouldn't list Mark Andrews as one of the top guys. You didn't list your third guy.
Who, me? I didn't.
You didn't list your third guy.
I want to put Goddard in there. I'm a big guy, but I don't. You're right. There's probably two.
Goddard,
Goddard's pretty nice, but
Goddard's all right. He's probably top 5. Darren Waller is another one that
TJ
Hawkinson. Yeah, Kyle Pitts is still rough.
Yeah, those are all guys second tier.
Yeah, Dalton Schultz, Pat Freiermuth.
That's Logan Thomas's. That's his level.
No,
his level is. Are you kidding me? Freiermuth. Go look up Freiermuth's stats.
I'm about to go look this up, Stoner, because you're kidding
Dalton
me.
Schultz.
Okay, tell me
Logan
right
Thomas's
now.
Area.
Tell me how many yards do you think Freiermuth got last year?
Last year,
700 and some.
Oh, I don't think he had anything that high. 564.
732, Stoner.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoop-de frickin' do. Logan Thomas had that in his best year.
600 in his best year. And that was
Logan
also
did?
and that was also the only year where he had significant yardage.
Okay. So that's what he's capable of. That's what Freiermuth is capable of.
No.
It's the same thing.
Please.
It's the same level.
Stop it. Stop it.
I mean,
that is
you
not
guys
the same
disrespect
level.
when he's healthy, he's a weapon.
Who, Logan Thomas?
I agree.
Yeah,
He's a tall target. Despite the fact EP will always say that he drops the pass, he is reliable at catching the ball.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not saying that he's not reliable. Again, I mean, just because I say that he's decidedly mediocre isn't to say that he's bad. It's not to say that he can't be good on the field.
They got to pay them defensive players so they can't go out and get themselves a good tight end.
We don't need an elite. We said draft a decent one here. By the way, 670 was his highest total, Logan Thomas. His next best year was last year at 323.
So 670. And Freiermuth last year had how much?
700. And his rookie year, he had 400 and something.
Right.
They're not comparable, sir.
Oh, my God. Are you serious right now?
They're totally not comparable.
Yards, and you're saying that it's a totally different level?
You're telling me the 24-year-old Pat Freiermuth, who is still developing, is on the same tier as a 32-year-old?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
1,000,000,000%. I don't want to hear any of this. What about Kyle Pitts?
What about
right
Kyle
now?
Pitts
That's his level.
Kyle Pitts is definitely a little bit overrated.
That's his
level. The guy is absolutely a physical phenom, but he doesn't have a QB to toss it to. I'm bringing up Kyle Pitts yet. I mean,
I bet you Kyle Pitts hasn't even sniffed Logan Thomas numbers.
Oh yeah, you're right. 1,000 yards his rookie year was definitely not sniffing. Yes.
Yeah.
For the record, I completely forgot about that, mainly because I just remembered he started off kind of slow, and like the talk was was he actually worth that high pick? Last year he did fall down to 356 yards. But
down to Logan's level.
That is Logan's level. There we go. 356 yards is Logan's level, not 1,000, not even 700.
Kind of the whole point is, I don't think they like their tight ends. They don't need. They
have to say that.
No, I think they believe that. Or
if
else
they
they
didn't
would have
like their
gone out
tight
and
ends, they
drafted
would have
a guy.
gone out or signed one of these.
Or signed a guy.
We don't do that.
The free agents were not that expensive in the tight end room. They were just not. They could have done that.
Right.
Now,
And
granted, I think we still get Cam Curl signed, so that's going to be one of those things that's going to crunch the cap space a little bit more. Dallas Goedert, bearded knowledge. Dallas Goedert greater than Logan Thomas and Kyle Pitts.
There's no.
I don't think you're going to get an argument here. Thanks, bearded knowledge, for tuning in. Yeah, yeah. There's a little Philly guy cheering on the Philly guy.
Yeah.
Dallas Goedert's solid. I would give him. He's easily top 7, probably top 5. I mean,
that might be a little high.
No,
you're the guy who just said
10.
you're going to label Goddard in top 3. What are you? What are you doing? Are you even listening to yourself right now?
I said there's a top
Mike
2.
Gesicki's good.
That's a top 2, and then that's the level, and then there's everybody else, and that's it. So let's not start thinking that we have to have a Kelsey, and that we have to have Kelsey Kittle. You don't have to have those guys. And so I think they're okay with this room. Let's not worry about it. There's only one ball. And if you're over here predicting that Terry's going to get 110 and Dotson's going to get 80 and Robinson and Gibson are going to combine for 100 catches and Samuel's going to get 60 and all of a sudden Diami's going to go from 5 to 40. I mean, Sam Howell, what's he going to complete 700 passes in the season?
No, but
we haven't even talked tight end yet.
Well, they can't block, bro. That's another thing that why a tight end room is weak.
That is problematic.
They can't
Bates is
block.
pretty good blocker.
Yeah. Bates is such a good blocker. Stoner often calls him a tackle.
He's a glorified tackle.
There's some problems there.
Yeah.
I am not concerned. I'm not ringing the alarms just yet for the tight end room. I think we'll see some productivity there. Now, I'm going to pose this to you guys. Yes or no, okay? Mm-hmm. Will Washington have a tight end with more than 400 yards?
Ooh.
Yes.
Trev?
And his name rhymes with Small Herner.
Yes. Yes.
Trev's going to go with it.
Yes.
I don't think we do. I do not think we do. I do think we have one tight end that gets over 400.
I mean, Small Herner is going to have that after like 5 games.
You would believe it, but no. I mean, if look up the stats, 400 for a tight end is actually pretty darn flipping good.
Oh.
And
now all of a sudden it's good. Before, when Logan Thomas had 400, he was like worse than the league.
He had 300, and that's decidedly mediocre, Stoner.
Okay. All right.
I'm not moving the crossbars. You're moving the crossbars on us. Tommy T saying yes. Nicole saying yes. Apparently, I stand alone. Logan Thomas. I had Logan Thomas's stats up, and Logan Thomas last year had 323 yards
in 12 games.
And 12 games.
So that's a chance. Then.
Yep.
He plays one more game, and he's at 400.
Yep. Gonna go with no. That's my stance. I'm sticking to it. Appreciate everyone. Yes, Cole Turner is what Commanders chaplain Rev Rashid Fry is telling us. So we'll see. Big E, not Caleb's with me. Thank you. Caleb is with me on the no. I'm not saying we're not going to have we could have 2 or 3 guys at 300, but one guy over 400, I just don't think that's going to happen. But we'll see. Everyone's telling me don't sleep on Colt Turner. He's going to have, or Schmoll Turner's going to have some big yardage there. This warm-up is brought to you by Don't Sleep Energy. Make sure you head out to don'tsleepenergy.com. Use the code REFTHEDISTRICT1. Great products, okay? The sugar-free energy drink is the only energy drink the 3 of us enjoy. You can get some of the great gear. Tell them we sent you. Use the code REFTHEDISTRICT. That would help because they're not only great products, but they also are great to us. They support us, so you can support them by using our code there. Let's move on from the Logan Thomas discussion there and move on to our man here who is wearing the Stats Sports top that everybody loves to dog as a sports bra and everything like that. He did miss some time. He had that stinger. This is a guy who has a lot to prove this year, Trev.
Yeah.
Are you concerned with him getting dinged up so early?
Nope. It's a stinger. Happens in football. He hasn't been playing competitive football in how long? So it's kind of expected because he probably was focusing more of his rehab and workout on his lower body than his upper body.
Sure.
So that's okay.
And stingers are freak accidents, right? That's not something you can really predict.
That man looks ready to go. I'm not concerned. Like Stunner was saying, he was participating in individual drills, just didn't do team. They're just being, appreciate it, AC. They're just being cautious, which is, I guess, is the theme of this season. Cautious is the word of the season. So I'm not concerned. Sure. He's going to be a freak, and he's going to bounce back to what he was before he got injured, in my opinion.
You think he'll play Monday night?
No.
No, you don't think he'll play? So you think like all the guys that are kind of banged up, and we didn't even talk about Mathis. I don't even know, to tell you the truth. Did anybody see anything on Mathis today?
I'm going to look it up.
Oh, no, he was in a walking boot yesterday.
Yeah,
he was in a walking boot. So I imagine not out there, but I'm going to see if there was anything about him.
I wouldn't play him.
Mathis, Chase, Logan, of course, probably Sadiq Charles, BSJ. I'm pretty sure none of those guys are going to play on Monday night.
BSJ might, because he was out there today in full pads.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, he was. But if anybody's got like something that's just even a little
to be cautious
there's no
about,
reason.
Yeah.
Practice, you want to be out there, but when you're out there for a preseason game and you're playing 1 or 2 series, it might not be worth the risk.
Not even close.
So I doubt that you would see those guys out there. And then of course you still got practice Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I think. And then, of course, Sunday, I think they're off, and then Monday's the game. So you still got a few more practices where, anything can happen.
I know Friday is the last practice open to fans. I'm not sure if they have one more practice. No, Saturday actually is the last practice. So they do have a Saturday practice. That will probably be more of a walkthrough with the game on Monday. But we'll talk more about who's going to play and stuff during the cool down.
Yeah, I was just curious if you thought Chase was. Nathan, do you think Chase is going to play Monday?
I will save my answer for the cool down. Moving to another, remind me when we get to the cool down, we do the Ravens preview, and I'll give you an answer then. Sadiq Charles, you brought him up as one of the other ones that was injured. He did get a little playing time today. Then he had to step out dealing with a calf injury. This is a guy, Stoner, that you said is going to be a surprise cut. And you've doubled down on this. You've stuck to this as he's been getting more and more reps with the ones.
Yeah.
Now he's getting kind of, he has this lingering calf injury. Where is the concern with Sadiq Charles and this offensive line? Because they really do not have the depth to lose a guy like Sadiq Charles.
Well, let's just put it this way. What is the best ability?
Availability
is the best ability. And this guy, for as long as he's been here, I think this is his 4th year now, he just hasn't been available. And if you just consistently can't be available, then you're going to have these struggles to be able to make a football team. They have to be able to depend on you. Now, obviously, when he's out there, Chris Paul played really well in the Cleveland game.
Mm-hmm.
The very next time they come out to practice, Sadiq Charles is back with the ones.
Yep.
And he was there with the ones for 3 consecutive days.
Yep.
Maybe even 4 consecutive days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He's played with the ones. And the beat reporters were saying that you can see why they like him. You can see why he's still getting that chance.
The talent's there.
Even with the injury. The talent's there. But if you can't be available, they've got to, at some point, they've got to pull the plug. So I don't know if they're going to do that. That's just kind of a, to try and stir up some engagement that I think he might be cut. He might be cut.
All right, Trev. Do they part ways with Sadiq Charles?
No. I don't think so.
Jeff's like, no.
Who's going to replace him? Who's going to take his spot? Chris Paul? Well, Chris Paul's playing right guard and Charles is left guard, right? And I see there.
No, Chris Paul's left guard.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. And I see that they got Ricky Stromberg out there playing a little bit of guard too. So I don't know, but like what makes me say yes, they're going to keep him is because they keep giving him a chance to show what he can do after every injury, after every setback. But then also, I'm right there with Stoner saying, if you can't be consistent, there's no spot for you on this roster. But there just might be, considering we don't have that much depth for the O-line like we do on defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was a surprise cut on the offensive line, I think it would be Sadiq Charles just because of the inconsistency, but also at the same time, no, because they keep believing in this guy to give him reps with the ones and a chance to come back. So I don't know, man. That's tough. Right. But if there is, I would say, yeah, it would be Sadiq just because of the inconsistency.
Yeah, I think that the part of the surprise cut is the fact that you usually have one or two surprise cuts on the team. And with him being a veteran player that just has a hard time being on the field, this is somebody who you could be let go because you have other young developmental guys that you don't want to lose, to somebody else, right? Mason Brooks is a guy that they are very, very high on. And I get this as an undrafted free agent, but this is a guy who very likely, if he's on a practice squad, somebody pulls what Washington did with John Ridgeway and snatches him away from us. And that is maybe not a guy who's going to contribute this year, but you don't just build a roster for this year. You're building a roster for next year. Mason Brooks might be a player, maybe not next year, or maybe even 2 years from now, that works out for you. So there's a game here. Is Sadiq Charles going to get picked up off the waiver wire? Probably not, right?
Probably.
No, I think he will.
He will.
Oh, yeah. Jahan Christian did.
Oh,
and Jahan Christian wasn't half the player Sadiq Charles is.
Oh,
right?
man.
Dang.
Jahan Christian's sitting there right now, and his ears are burning. He's just like,
sorry,
who just trash talked me?
That was a good one.
But I think one of the guys who's definitely going to be a practice squad guy and not make it is their 4th round pick, Braden Daniels.
Yeah.
All the talk there is that he is a big time long-term project.
Yeah.
He is a project.
i.e.
he is bad so far. Not saying he can't get better. This is what we talk about when we
he has
talk
a lot
about
to work on. Yeah.
The hidden messages with these beat reporters when they say he's a long-term project, that means he's not good right now.
Yeah, so he's a lot to work on. To be fair, Sadiq Charles also a 4th round pick. So that was a developmental project. Braden Daniels could be a developmental project. So we'll see.
We like Sadiq Charles because he was blocking for Joe Burrow. So we were like, oh, if he could do that.
I mean, I like Sadiq Charles because he was projected as a 1st rounder and then fell to the 4th rounder. So that's what I was. But that's part of that Stoner familiarity bias.
That's familiarity
when you're looking at people's mock drafts, and that you have this name in the the low 30s or in the 40s, and he falls to you in the 4th round, you're like, okay, we got ourselves a great value pick. And, here we are year 4 and haven't seen the value from that pick.
Yeah. So injuries are going to give other guys opportunities to step up. In the case of Chris Paul taking that opportunity with Chase and his injuries, he's given guys behind him a chance to step up. And we'll probably talk about that more in the game when we talk about the joint practices. But that's what injuries will do. You can find yourself from being a starter in this league to being out on the street
quick
with one little injury.
Yep.
And Trev, quick, just like that. And that could be the case with Sadiq Charles. I mean, when he got hurt that first game of his first year starting, remember he was starting that game when he popped his calf. And then he was done for the year. And then ever since then, he's just been kind of a guy trying to fight for a job year in and year out. So, man, these injuries give other guys opportunities and also guys get put out on the street with them.
Yeah. Well, let's move on from the injury discussion here to give you an update from the team. The Washington Commanders announced their first corporate partnership since Josh Harris took ownership over the team. They signed Verizon. You can get more at the front office sports and AJ Perez, who of course covered a lot of the sales stuff. Anyways, Verizon as a partner, Trev, you seem excited. Why are you excited with this?
Hopefully we get some good Wi-Fi in the stadium. And hopefully we'll be able to use those apps that they say you can use if you want to order from your seat and they'll bring it to you. Well, we don't have internet.
Right.
That's great. And you have cell phone service there too, because that cell phone service is bad in FedEx Field as well. So if we can't get a new stadium yet, might as well upgrade, like we said we were hoping to do.
Yeah.
Stadium, start off with Verizon. Great.
And
it's cool to see that we're getting sponsors.
Right.
Yeah, instead of losing sponsors, that's a huge.
Not like Boost Mobile or like
Cricket.
You know, we got Verizon. Like so, it's a great day to be a Commanders fan again.
I gotta ask my sister about that. She's a corporate. She's Verizon, and she does like corporate plans or whatever. You know, she sells those. I wonder if my sister had anything to do with this deal. That maybe she can get me like free season tickets or something like that.
Hey, there we go. A little kiddo on the screen there. Hey, Stoner, if you're talking about getting something, maybe we can get another sponsorship for those daily Commanders updates. But let's continue with this update here. Verizon is planning to be that official 5G network for Washington. Josh Harris is planning millions of dollars of improvement in FedEx. So maybe you're gonna get some of that. This sponsorship deal will be able to do it. I saw from Jason Wright that the focus is to be able to kind of have these nice things that they promised us, being able to order from your seat. I want to be able to order from my seat and have the food delivered to my seat. I don't want to leave my seat. Okay.
Right.
Let's work on that, because you know what's really sucky is all this promotion of you don't have to leave your seat to order your food, and it's just like, okay, cool, let me order food. Oh wait, I still have to go 3 blocks and miss a quarter of play to go pick it up. Like, no thanks. I'll lose the $40 for the one chicken nugget and a large fry.
Improvements. Things are looking up.
Yeah,
they are. All the news you're getting out of the front office or the business side now is all good stuff, which is a change from the last few years. So, heck yeah, let's do it.
Trav, you mentioned the sponsorships leaving. It was just last year that Anheuser-Busch ended their sponsorship with the team. What other sponsors would you like Washington to kind of bring back? Is there any ones that you're looking at?
Another brewery, if you can't do Anheuser-Busch, some kind of brewing company would be nice. Some kind of merch line, maybe. Like,
I got one.
Like a Nike or Under Armour or Puma.
Yeah.
Under Armour would be big. That's a Maryland market thing. That's something you could really work. All right, Stoner, who you got?
Like, Don't Sleep energy drink.
There you go.
Wouldn't that be a fantastic sponsorship?
That would be, actually.
It would be.
You know,
they're on the up and up. They're getting more and more sponsorships there. They're going to ditch us because they're like, you guys aren't as big as the Commanders. But we are going to be talking more Commanders here during the game. It's been joint practices all week.
Oh, yeah.
With the Baltimore Ravens. Washington, by all accounts, doing well, but we'll talk more about that here in the game. Stick with us.
The game is brought to you by Pacers Running Stores. Pacers has 5 stores in Northern Virginia and DC. For the best running footwear, apparel, and gear, just stop by or schedule a virtual fitting with the best running experts in the business. Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. For every run, it's Pacers Running.
The Washington Commanders went up to Owing Mills there in Maryland to do joint practice with Baltimore Ravens. They did it on Tuesday. They did it on Wednesday. Tomorrow is a rest day. So these will be the only 2 joint practices. Trev, how good has it been to have a joint practice session back for this team?
It's awesome, bro. All these new faces we got, all these playmakers we have. It's great to go up against somebody else other than yourselves all camp long, all off season long. We've been hunkering down for joint practices ever since we had one with the Houston Texans and that whole fiasco. We've been trying to, get it to happen, and it finally made it happen. And why not with our Battle of the Beltway opponents, the Baltimore Ravens? Amar Jackson, OBJ, Zay Flowers, the trio of running backs, Mark Andrews. So I was here for it. I enjoyed watching what I did. Shout out to the Ravens too for live streaming it. That's pretty cool. So
big thing there for them to live stream it yesterday. There was just content galore for everybody. Today, though, there was a little bit of an issue with that, right? Mm-hmm. And we have Steve, who got to go to it from the Command This podcast. Steve says they were quick on the draw to shut down any cell phone camera footage yesterday after the leaked videos yesterday. Some of those videos weren't even leaked. Some of those videos were just clipped from the broadcast. But you noticed today's broadcast hyper focused on the Ravens, not so much on the Commanders. Stoner, I know this upset you because you had this going on in the background.
Yeah. You know, they were trying to really highlight the Ravens quite a bit. It was weird that they were focused so much because look, the offense for the Ravens is on one field against the Commanders defense. On the other field, it's flipped. Obviously, they only got one camera, one stream, but they can decide which one they're going to show. So they were only showing usually the Ravens offense. And then when they did show the Ravens defense against the Commanders offense, they were doing tight close-ups of like individual players on the Ravens instead of for us to be able to see Sam Howell cooking out there. I think they were burned from all the talk yesterday was all about Sam Howell and this offense cooking the Ravens defense, and they didn't like that. They didn't like that they were getting all the love, that the Commanders were getting all the love. So, yeah, it was a little bit annoying that they did that today, but man, just to be able to have the opportunity to not be there, and Steve was talking about how they were shutting down the cell phone footage. I was trying to figure out a way to go to practice, and I was going to be able to go with Steve because you know how they do tickets there? They do it per car, not per person. So if Steve and I could have hooked up, he had a parking pass, then I could have gone into practice. But by then,
clown car, just fit in everybody. You got somebody laying across the lap and all that.
So shout out to Steve though, that you know he reached out and said, "Hey, I can come get you. Let's go. Let's do it." And I was like, I just can't pull it. But yeah, they were shutting down the camera footage from everybody in the stands today. They don't let nobody but kids can get autographs from the players.
I think that's an awesome thing.
I think that's awesome too.
I have it's ready to be hung up over here, but I have a Terry McLaurin from my time at camp last year. But yeah, I think that's an awesome thing here.
Who got you that autograph?
I was Stoner who got it because I just
didn't want to do it.
I don't do groups of people. I like to keep my space. And then plus, like, you have this again. I'm a larger person. Reaching over the top of like kids and even adults, like just me, like it just seems of poor.
But I mean, last year there was like 100 people there.
Yeah,
like 10,000.
That's fair. Like Gregory hit us with the Wolves, which that's the wrong button. This is the right button.
Oh, I thought you were doing
there for the Wolves. You talked Sam Howell, Trev.
Yeah.
He's been the talk of the town. Stoner is slowly coming to the Howler side. Where are you? You've been missing in our lives for a couple of weeks here. So where do you stand with Sam Howell? What you've seen over the last few weeks,
bro? I'm hyped. I'm excited. I'm more confident than I was honestly about 2-3 weeks ago. I've always been a Sam Howell fan. For one, he was a Tar Heel, and two, he was just the Cowboys game, and so I've been advocating for it. But so far in camp, he's lighting it up, bro, and he's acting like he's been there before. He's cool, calm, collected. He's not, making any erratic mistakes. The mistakes he does make, he comes right back the next down or next series and corrects them. He has great accuracy. The receivers, of course, you kind of have to talk great about them because we did with Taylor Heineke, but we really know the truth about that. But you can tell a difference in the way they're talking about Sam Howell this year. Like they're more passionate about it. They're more focused into it. Sam's out here cooking, as Stoner said. He's dealing. And I'm glad that he did at Baltimore Ravens camp. Obviously, he did some success. If they don't want to show him on their live stream anymore, he must be doing something right. Marlon Humphrey is praising them. So, like, hey, I'm ready for week one. Sam Howell is QB1. The competition is no more.
Yeah,
there is one. There is no more competition. Jacoby Brissett is number 2 from 3.
Well, what do you think of Ron Rivera today when asked that question? Says he's still not ready to name him the starter.
Ron Rivera is never ready to make a decision about anything Washington Commanders related until week one. Like
I think he does it Saturday. He does it Saturday.
He's just being coy. They know that Sam Howell is the starter. This is not a big deal. Stoner, I'm not sure if you actually have any videos cut up for us, but I want to share this one video that the
Okay.
team shared out, and it is that sidearm because it is. This is just
It's a beautiful thing.
pretty. All right, so I'm going to share this Chrome tab here. We'll make sure this is the right one. And so this here is just a thing of beauty as Sam Howell's rolling out to his left, sidearm throw to Diami, and the ball is on the money.
Yep.
Listen,
lots of space for Diami. This is just so good.
It's not just a cool throw. It is a perfect throw. As you said, Nathan, on the money. Diami's not breaking stride, and he throws it sidearm. Going left.
Yes.
Going to his left, sidearming it. Coincidence or not, on the day after, Chris Sims goes on national TV and says Sam Howell can't throw sidearm.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but whatever.
Right.
That's a thing of beauty, and it's scary. I told Trev yesterday on our Daily Commanders update, I'm getting scared because it's what he's doing in camp is too good. I'm getting scared because
that's Sam
I'm not
Howell,
used to
baby.
this. I'm not used to this, to seeing this and to feeling this and everything that's going on. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Something I don't understand what's going on. I was an absolute anti-Howell guy.
Yeah.
And I haven't
Very
done a complete
negative
180. I have not done a complete 180, but I'm past 90 of the 180.
Something's moving with Stoner.
Something's moving in the pants. I'm not going to lie. Because he's everything that you said, Trev, everything you said about what he's doing in camp and how he's correcting his own mistakes. And he does completely understand this offense. You know, he has the physical tools. That was never a question.
Right.
It's most quarterbacks do, but he does have a little bit extra. But what he did in the preseason game, show me a bad game he's had at the NFL level. I understand it's preseason games so far, but in his preseason games last year, he played extremely well. In the final regular season game, he played pretty well. Let's not get too crazy. Right. And in the preseason game so far, and in the joint practices, which are just as important as a preseason game, because it's even more important, I think, he's been excellent. He's been better than average.
He's been getting a lot of praise, not just from the Washington players, Washington media. National media is starting to notice Sam Howell's got something to him. And the Ravens players were getting out there and talking quite nice about Sam Howell. So I think that it is definitely time for Stoner to break out the tractor. So let's see how it is. Let's make Stoner the big screen here.
Oh, I get the big screen on the live.
On the live for the tracker. Yeah. You can still hear Trev and I in the background, but this is a big board. You need the big screen.
All right. Well, look, I mean, he's just racking up practice after practice after practice on the good side with the green. It's crazy what's going on. He's stacked. This will now be today. I mean, you've heard me talk about it, so you know I'm going green. I'm not even taking the red marker out.
TJ, just telling you, throw away the red marker.
Yeah. This is going to be, I believe, 8 consecutive good practices. And again, this is not that he's dominating or anything like this. This is just where everybody, all the reports are coming out saying that he is playing well. He's doing things right. He's not dominating, but he's doing things right. And that's the best thing that you can. I mean, he has dominated some practices, but nobody's has these underlying tones or underlying tweets of saying, you know, he really struggled with his footwork today.
Oh, yeah.
Or, you know, any of those things. So I'm marking it up. The black marker, by the way, has already died. What's going on? So I had to go to blue over here. I mean, I just bought this. Yeah. This cheap Expo crap. Anyway.
Well, next day prime some green markers for Stoner. Everything's dry over here. Maybe that's going to be our next sponsorship is Expo markers.
Well, I just called them cheap and terrible product. I don't know if they're going to be too happy.
Edit that out.
But I can edit. Yeah. So it's 11-5 right now in favor of good practices over.
It's almost a full season right there.
Yeah, we'll take it.
I mean, I'm just going to keep this right here for now until somebody tells me otherwise, as in 17-0 until
there you go. 17-0 until we find out otherwise. Absolutely. Washington over the last couple days seems to have gotten the better of the Ravens in practice. We're talking great about Sam Howell here. Matthew Paris had tweeted out earlier that the Ravens brought a ton of pressure on third down, and Sam Howell was doing a great job getting the ball out fast to hit McLaurin for a first down. And that connection was just on one today. Now, that was actually a tweet yesterday from Matthew Paris. But even today, we heard good things coming out. And so one of the things we wanted to talk about was who our top performers here were. So who was your best performer, Trav, for these Ravens mini camps that they've been doing together, these practice sessions?
I might have to go with the general, like the most obvious one, Emmanuel Forbes, bro. For me, ever since the draft was like, we passed up on Christian Gonzalez, we passed up on Deion Banks, and we got Emmanuel Forbes from Mississippi State, and then the stat came out, he led the FBS and pick sixes, and then you hear Ron Rivera saying during OTAs he's a ball hawk and he knows this and that, and then you hear about it again in camp against our own players, which that's, expected to happen. It's every day. But then you see him out there lining up against who? OBJ. I mean, this guy gets to line up against OBJ in practice.
Not Kendall Fuller.
Not Kendall Fuller, not Danny Johnson, not BSJ, not Wild Goose. It's Emmanuel Forbes, the skinny kid, rail-looking kid that everybody said he doesn't have the weight or the size to compete. You saw in the preseason with that hit stick for the loss against the running back when he had that tackle in the backfield, and then OBJ in practice, he's locking them down. OBJ beat him on a double move today, I think, but Forbes made up the space and got a PBU. So I'm gonna go with Forbes just for a young guy, not your average cornerback or outside cornerback size, and he's going up against one of the greatest receivers in the game still today. He held his own. So
yeah, a lot of concern there with Forbes was kind of his size, right? He's a taller, lankier dude. You look at those legs, and I have the graphic up right now with him there, and those are some tiny legs. Oh, they are some this is the calf that we need to protect. That our brand new calf coach that Stoner's going to hire.
And he got that dog in him.
He is
got that little tussle on the field yesterday, day before.
And I think that's what I really appreciate. I've seen some good things from Forbes, and Stoner, you said he was one of the standouts when you got to go to the practice last week, but he went up against, like you said, OBJ. He's going up against these physical wide receivers, and he's showing that his size, his tallness is going to keep him there. He's got the speed. He seems to be doing good. He did get beat on that double move, and Mark Bullock had tweeted out that was even a problem for him at Mississippi State. Was something so that's going to be something he's going to have to work on, and something that Jack Del Rio is going to have to make sure that he maybe gets that safety help in case there's a double move every now and then. Of course, the play that we saw him getting beat on a double move, the safety had moved over far away. Thankfully, Lamar Jackson not on top of it as far as those passes, and Forbes was able to break those up. He is doing something special. I was very happy with the pick, and I am definitely happy now because he seems to be doing some great things. You're going to need that depth. Stoner, who was your best performer in these practice sessions?
Man, this is hard because there was so much to really like on both sides of the ball. So defensively, you talked about Forbes already. I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Cody Barton. He's flashed. He's locked down. Look, he's locked down that middle linebacker if they ever go to 5-1-5 or
flashed.
Today.
He's looked really good.
They were doing 4-1-6s out there. I don't know if we've seen that before. He's the guy out there, not Jamin. So take that for what it's worth. They were bringing Curl down into the box to be kind of that second linebacker when they were doing 4-1-6s today. So, but Cody Barton has flashed. Absolutely. He does have the speed that I don't think we thought he has. So he does have the speed. Now he's he's got to work on his angles and all that. He's got stuff to work on, but he's
there's a couple gaps that he shot that were like that's where you see the speed, and that's where you see those flashes, but he shoots it at the wrong time, or he shoots it and then puts himself out of position. So hopefully those things get worked, because he does. I mean, the linebacker position has been kind of devalued, just kind of like running backs. But if you get a good one, a thumper, a guy who can just rack up some tackles, that's important. One of the biggest reasons why Washington has gone to that 5-1-5 front was because the linebackers were just getting eaten alive. So they said, fine, we've got great defensive linemen. We're just going to stop you at the point of attack.
Right.
And it's worked. But now if you get a Cody Barton out there, it's going to be good. Stoner, real quick, who were the 6? Do you remember those names?
The 6 DBs?
Yeah, so it would have been 4 defensive linemen who we could assume who those would be. Cody Barton as your middle linebacker. And then who would have been the extra one? Because normally in a 5 set, you see Fuller, BSJ, Forbes. Yep. Okay, those are and then as the safeties, you have Defoe and Cam Curl. So who was the 6th person out there?
A couple of times I saw Quan Martin was at times, and then there was Percy Butler at times.
Yeah, Percy Butler's starting to kind of come along there, which is nice to see. Quan Martin looking better. I saw the question in the chat earlier. Has he kind of come back from kind of not a great game against the Browns? Got to remember, this is a young kid. He's being a lot under his belt. Love to see them continue go to him, because I do think there's the talent there with Quan Martin. Let me hear from you, those who are watching in the chat, who your best performer is, as I'm prepared to give you mine. So but I am interested in the chat. Stoner, you had something before I go to mine?
Yeah, just there's the obvious of Howell was fantastic for the last couple of days, and his
Stoner likes to do this, Trev, where he just gives out the full list instead of I ask for one, and he's just like, let me. Well, it's not this guy. It's but I'm going to say this guy.
But
Cody Parton is your best one.
Cody Parton is my guy, because the others are obvious. I mean, McLaurin is going to do his thing, and Jahan Dotson's going to do his thing, and who's the quarterback throwing it to him, right? So that's been really. But I wanted to point this out. So the answer is Cody Barton for me. But I just want to point this out from a Ravens beat reporter. Lamar Jackson and the first team offense in the morning session, he was 8 for 19 during the 11-on-11s, and he was 3 for 7 during the 7-on-7s.
Visibly getting frustrated against.
There were times where he just had bad throws. Mm-hmm. There were times when there was just nobody open. We saw the clip of Cam Curl locking down Mark Andrews. Yep. And if you look at the full clip, if you look at the other receivers, he had to go there, Lamar did, because there was nobody else open. Everybody was locked down. And he just went to his trusted guy, his tight end, Mark Andrews, and it wasn't there, and Cam Curl knocked it away. So I just want to point that out as to kind of focus that the defense had an excellent couple of days as well.
Jonas Schaefer with the tweet there on the Ravens Commanders joint practices have wrapped up. Second hour was much more chill than the first. Lamar Jackson and the first team offense did not have a good morning. He had Lamar at 8 and 19 on the 11-11s, 3 for 7 on the 7-7s. Drops and pass breakups are there, but several misses too. Again, Jonas Schaefer from the Baltimore Banner. Thanks for that tweet information in there.
7-on-7, you should be putting up just ridiculous numbers, because you have no rush coming at you. Yeah. So you just find the guy that's
glorified open. One-on-one.
Yeah, it is.
And we know how one-on-ones favor the wide receivers. TJ going with Sam, Nicole going with Sam. Nicole's a Sam guy. I don't think Nicole's ever going to go not Sam on that one. Gregory Pett going with Dotson, who has looked absolutely phenomenal. Big E, best performers, Josh Harris for just being at practice. Allison Diami Brown, Dark Horse Camp MVP. A lot of people expect that North Carolina connection to do some good this year. Metaphor all day Sam. Sam's developing. So Sam Howell's an obvious choice because he's definitely been the talk of the town. I know this is another kind of obvious choice, like Stoner pointed out, but I am going to go with Gregory here and say that Jahan Dotson is just absolutely just
Filthy.
dominant.
His
This
route running is ridiculous.
we knew there was that potential in this player. He had a pretty good rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to, if Sam Howell is the guy we want him to be, which isn't even top 5 QB, he just needs to be middle of the pack QB.
Mm-hmm.
Jahan Dotson's going to have a breakout year, and people will be talking about this Washington wide receiver room just because Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson might end up being the best tandem in the NFL. Jahan Dotson is that good.
Yeah, I don't like getting hyperbolic there, Nathan. I'm with you.
I'm not sitting on this one. This is Jahan Dotson. The more and more I see from him, the more and more he just impresses me. He might end up being wide receiver 1 in 2 years. Maybe not this year, Trev.
Okay.
Maybe not this year, but he might end up being wide receiver 1 because he is just absolute nasty. Those routes that he breaks, those are ankles breaking. Okay. Yeah. He's just straight up a filthy route runner. And I just love seeing it. It's great.
When he hit that spin move last year on the New York Giants, I was like, welcome to the NFL, Jahan Dotson. You have arrived.
Yeah, he's something special here. Yeah, Allison, elite route runner. Metaphor, Patrick Mahomes. Trout saying Jahan's going to be insane. Absolutely. Gus Bus. Wow.
That's
Dotson giving some AB 84 feels. Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown was the best wide receiver, I think, for 4 years. For about 4 years.
Yeah, he was catching like 130 balls, man.
Yeah, he was something special, and Jahan Dotson has that something special as well. Let's move on to the opposite side of this. Who has been the worst performer? Stoner, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I called him out earlier. I think Jamin Davis he's not having a good camp. Overall, he's more than anything. What have you guys heard from Jamin Davis?
The legal stuff.
Yeah. You've heard nothing about his on-field stuff.
No.
And when you have a guy who was drafted because of his sideline to sideline abilities, that's what it was all about with him. His speed, his ability to cover guys. And then you go out in the offseason, you pick up a Cody Barton, who's not known for that. And then he takes over that job when you go to one linebacker. That's not a good sign for Jamin Davis. And
no, it's not.
He's your first round pick. He's your first ever pick of this regime. And he's in year 3. And if he hasn't got it by year 3, he hasn't got it.
Yeah.
But, he can be a productive player. He's just not going to be that first round pick, sideline to sideline, lock down their tight ends, the opposing tight ends, make plays all over the field. He's not that guy. So, and we just haven't barely seen him in any of the training camp. The last 2 practices with Baltimore, nobody said anything about him because he's not flashing. He's not doing anything.
He progressed really well throughout the season.
Right,
and this was supposed to be the season we were supposed to take a turn. As Gregory said, and we kind of mentioned there, he's got a lot on his mind. There's a lot of those legal issues he's got to get resolved. He might be doing 30 days jail time at some point during the season.
He could be.
If they're not able to move that past the season. So this is going to be something to really kind of worry about there as far as him. Make sure everyone gets in their worst performer for it as we get around here. So we'll move these things a little bit quicker here. Trev, who has been your worst performer?
Kendall Fuller.
Wow, really?
You hate Kendall Fuller.
He
got burned. He got burned when I was watching the Ravens and practice the other day. He got burned. He's just not, and he's not lining up against the number 1s anymore. Forbes is a kid. You don't really hear much about Kendall Fuller in training. You don't see any highlights for Kendall Fuller. You don't really hear anything about it. So I'm just going to go with Kendall Fuller.
That's harsh.
I think it is harsh.
You're right, Trev. I'm just saying it's harsh. Yeah.
Right. Washington has been very impressive, I think, these last couple of days. So being a worst performer, as metaphor here, worst performer is the Ravens. Yeah, they were not doing really well. I honestly expected this to be an offensive lineman.
Yeah,
I really did. But the offensive linemen didn't perform nearly as bad as what I think people are expecting. Maybe this is just a one of those things where we've set the bar so low for them that they managed to step over this bar, and it's just impressive to us. It's like we expect them to be a 2 out of 10, and they're now a 4 out of 10, and we're like, wait, all right, let's go. We've got an offensive line.
Yeah.
So
the Ravens' defensive line is not very good. They don't have a good pass rush. They're just not a good D line. So that plays into it. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's so worst performer for me. I am gonna go. Man, I just don't really necessarily have one. So this might be surprising because and take this with a grain of salt.
All right.
I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
The reason for it is just maybe, again, kind of the opposite of what we're doing with our offensive line here. I have such high expectation from Antonio Gibson.
You stop with that.
I have to come to earth, right?
Yeah.
I really do have to come from earth. He had a fantastic truck stick that he had yesterday. That would have been a tackle for a loss more than likely.
Yeah.
Right. That would have been a tackle. He got thumped and he thumped the other guy harder, but the guy wasn't trying to wrap him up.
No.
Right. And if he were trying to wrap him up, that probably is the tackle right there. So I just want so much out of Antonio Gibson. Like, I really do expect this guy to have an amazing year. That it is just surprising to me a little bit. And this is kind of going to the next one, that he hasn't really flashed yet.
I'm an Antonio Gibson guy too, Nathan, but it's kind of like Jamin Davis. This is year 3 now for him, right? Mm-hmm. And when is he going to produce? Or maybe this is year 4. I can't even remember.
Jamin Davis would be year 3.
No, Gibson.
Gibson is year 4.
Yeah, this is year 4 for him now.
Yeah.
So when is he finally going to produce? And what have they done the last 2 years in the draft? They drafted a running back. Yep. And then this year they drafted a running back.
Yep.
Last year's running back replaced him as running back 1, even though Antonio Gibson had back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Now, he
didn't have back-to-back, but I know you keep saying he didn't actually.
He
didn't last year. He didn't have 1,000 yards.
His rookie year, his sophomore year, he had back-to-back rushing, 1,000 yards, and then they drafted. Man, you're going to make me pull this up.
I'll look it up. You keep going.
Okay. They even though he had 1,000 yards back-to-back, he drafted. He had 900 something.
He had 795 as his second highest.
Did he?
Yeah.
So he had 2 solid years as a running back for Washington.
There we go.
Absolutely.
There we go.
He had 2,000 yards total.
He had 1,000 yards is what it was. He had 1,000 yards from scrimmage his rookie year. He had 1,000 yards straight rushing his sophomore year.
There you go.
He has all the makeup to be a special player.
I think he does too.
And I think that he's going to end up being what he talked about this offseason, which is J.D. McKissick. And we love J.D. McKissick here, right? And so again, this isn't a knock on Antonio Gibson, but I had expectations for him to be like Jamal Charles of, prime Jamal Charles, right? But he's J.D. McKissick.
Right.
Yeah.
He is not CJ Spiller 2K, right? So, 1001. He's the guy later on in his career. And that's where I have to come with terms with my love of Antonio Gibson, because we all know I champion what used to be the champion for the Gibby fan club, but we can't call him Gibby anymore.
Right.
The AG24 fan club.
Yeah.
And I'm having to really come to terms with it. So that was my thing.
Telling y'all, man, I've been saying he keeps doing this on the team. I mean, he does. Now, at first he was number 1 guy. Then he became slowly not the number 1 guy, share with J.D. McKissick, and then he loses it to B-Rob, and now they're like, okay, you're a 3rd down back. It's like, what's next? A slot wide receiver? Or
it is the Rock Cartwright catching kickoffs and hoping to stay on the team.
They're like trying to just say, just go here and play. Or
Yeah.
go there.
EE's telling us Jamin Davis is going to be just fine. Gregory saying Wiley looked horrible. Allison doubling down on that one.
Well, not in these joint practices though. You
joint
were
practices, he's looked just fine.
Yeah.
Can I give another can I sneak in another played really well?
Yeah.
Kind of a player that we haven't talked about at all. We haven't talked about not once. Who's getting a lot of hype the last couple of days, and that's Andre Jones Jr.
Oh yeah.
Right? He's the 7th rounder. Is that right? 7th round defensive end out of Louisiana Lafayette.
Yeah, something like that. Raging Cajuns, I think is what it was.
Yeah, Raging Cajuns.
Louisiana Tech. I don't even know. Somewhere down in Louisiana. And he got the reps with the ones, some of the ones today because Chase is not out there. Some other guys did as well, but he got some time with the ones. And there's been a lot of praise for Andre Jones Jr. this camp, the entire camp, not just these last couple of days. So keep an eye out for him. I think he's making the team. I think that's pretty obvious. But if he's making the team, you're talking to guys like James Smith-Williams, Casey Toohill, who won't make the team because you're not keeping 15 defensive ends.
Yeah, we're not
drafted 2 this year.
Yeah.
And they've still got William Bradley King.
Wow, that's probably your cut before. Yeah,
how do you think they'll keep 4?
Oh man.
I mean, you only keep so many,
Mathis healthy because your defensive line is going to be made up of both the defensive tackles and the defensive ends. So you probably keep 4 DTs and maybe a 5th because you do love going to that 5 set there. So what? That leaves you 4 edge rushers, maybe 5 edge rushers.
Yeah. And what do you got right now, guys that are playing? 7, something like that. You got Montez, Chase, Obata, Smith-Williams, Toohill, William Bradley King, KJ Henry, Andre Jones Jr. You got 8 guys for 4 spots, maybe 5.
Yeah, 5. They'll probably be 5. They'll probably keep 5 defensive tackles. 5. How many did they keep last year? Someone look that up here as I will concede. Will Diggs absolutely right. I totally botched that one. CJ2K is Chris Johnson, not CJ Spiller. Totally botched it. As soon as I said it too, I was just like,
that didn't sound right.
That's wrong. That is definitely wrong there. So appreciate
I know, right?
Big E saying Rigo's Rag has Curtis Samuel has 2 great days. You bring up, Stoner, our next thing, which is our biggest surprise of the camp. Is Andre Jones your biggest surprise then?
Yeah, I have to say Andre Jones Jr. has really popped the last couple of days. And let's be honest, he's popped the entire training camp. He's gotten a lot of praise from the coaches. And you don't hear that. Have you heard anything about William Bradley King? I forgot he was on the team until I saw him on the stream and saw his name on the back of the jersey. And I was like, I forgot he was still on this team. So you haven't heard it from those guys. James Smith-Williams, haven't heard anything from him. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Andre Jones Jr. He's had a really good camp so far, and last couple of days especially.
All right. How about you, Trev? Who has been your biggest surprise, or what has been your biggest surprise of these last 2 days?
Last 2 days, I'm going to go with Danny Johnson. I think he's playing pretty well with the 2s and sometimes the 1s too as a cornerback. He had a nice PBU today that was on a highlight I saw. He's been around for a long time too. Back when we had Fabian Moreau and somebody else out there in the corner, he was there too. He's always he used to return punts for us a couple of times. He's a special teams. It's like a poor man's Jeremy Reeves. Not a poor man's Jeremy Reeves, but it's a Jeremy Reeves in the cornerback position, making it, not making it, making it, not making it.
Yeah, back and forth.
And he's kind of held his own in camp in his 2 practices lately. So I'm going to go with Danny Johnson, the cornerback.
That's a good one.
Yeah, fair enough. By the way, defensive ends listed as 8 on the roster last year. Chase Young, Casey Toohill, Shaka Toney.
Oh, yeah.
Who's going to find himself on the street very likely. Montez Sweat, James Smith-Williams, Benning Potato.
He's still there. He's still here.
F.A. Obata and William Bradley King all saw playing time with the Washington Commanders last year. So now you got to add in the guys like Andre Jones in there. Absolutely, Rock Mantel, and you hit that like button. Absolutely. must do. Hit that like button. We appreciate everyone jumping in here in the chat. Let us know what your biggest surprise has been. And if you're one of our audio listeners, hit us up on our Twitter account. We'd love to hear from you as far as who your biggest surprise is. In fact, we got a community post. I'm going to get to those here. I forgot about that for the best and worst performers. My biggest surprise, if you're going to take Andre Jones from me, because he's definitely been the one who I think
I stole him from you.
You stole him from me. I'm going to double back and go back to that offensive line has not been horrendous.
Okay.
They've not been great, and they've downright been bad at times.
Yes.
But I was fully expecting them to be like, that has been my concern. I am a howler. I absolutely think Sam Howell can be the guy for Washington. The only reason why I say can instead of will be is because the offensive line worries the ever living daylights out of me.
Sure.
And they're actually doing their job. And EB is also doing a great game planning here, where we're seeing more of these short intermediate passes, the pockets being moved. We're seeing some of this stuff where it's just like, okay, get these guys time to gel. So that's what we need, and hopefully good things will continue. But that's been probably my biggest surprise, is that I haven't had to cover my eyes watching this offensive line play. Tinsley looking good to Gregory there. Absolutely. The young wide receivers are looking good. It's going to be a hard time here. Bruce Glass hitting you with that like and subscribe. Absolutely. Thank you again, Bruce. Metaphor, biggest surprise is Cole Turner staying healthy.
So far. Yep.
He's also done pretty well. Trout going with a different tight end. So we spent all that time in the warm up bashing this tight end room, and now we're gonna use them. John Bates finally making a catch. A little tongue in cheek answer there. It's going to be kind of an interesting thing to see where things develop with this team, because there's definitely some good things here, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with it.
There's a couple other things I also wanted to point out about these last two joint practices, and I think Steve from Command This mentioned this earlier, but the facilities, the practice facilities for the Ravens are outrageous in terms of how nice they are. Just seeing them on. Did you see the building that was like behind the field? It looked like a mansion type area, and they have stands on both sides of the fields. And we talked about how you see, like when the players come out, how close the fans can get to, giving them high fives as they come out on the field, how they only allow kids to get autographs and all that. It's a first class organization. Absolutely. No doubt. So I thought that was something that stood out to me as well. And then also when they had the first day, which was Tuesday, in the morning practice, when they came out, and the Commanders, by all accounts, pretty much dominated that morning, the first hour of the practice. The Commanders were ready to go.
Yeah.
And even the beat reporters said in prior years with these things, the guys, their swagger and their ego was there, but their talent and their preparation wasn't when they do these joint practices. The coaching staff had these guys ready to go to work from the jump on day one.
Yep.
And that's different than what we've had in this organization for a long time. So that's something I wanted to point out as well. That was a surprise to me as well.
Yeah, fair enough. Now let's go to Trev for what has you most excited or worried, whichever one on that scale is it gonna be for you. Watching these practices, what has you most excited?
EB's offense. I'm excited to see how he's going to scheme us, what different players he's going to use for different schemes. I'm a little also concerned too, because like it's a brand new offense. We have a lot of new faces, new quarterback. Seems to be getting it in practice, but practice is different than game. Are we going to look like we learn a new offense, or are we going to look like the same old struggling offensive team that we've been in the past?
Yeah.
The Scott Turner is a good play caller. Well, he is a good play caller. He just didn't know the right players. He didn't get the right players in the right position
Play design, I think,
Play
was
design,
maybe.
yeah.
Design,
Play calling
not
is where he
calling.
struggled.
Play
Yeah,
design. But EB's both. And I'm really excited to see, because you keep hearing Sam Howell in every interview saying they watch a ton of Kansas City Chiefs film. And we all know who the Chiefs are on offense. I mean, they got Blake Bell looking like a Travis Kelce Jr. out there sometimes at tight end. So, like, I'm just really excited to see if we're going to look like an actual NFL offense or just a bunch of talent that has no idea what we don't know what to do with it, and we don't score any points. But I'm very excited to see EB with these young players on offensive scheme.
Trev, before we get to stoners here, round the table and in the chat here, how many times will Washington score more than 30 points this season?
Oh,
wow.
How many times? 17
with
games.
Schedule 2.
I'm gonna
historically,
go 5.
Historically, 30 points. We haven't. When's the last time we
2
scored?
to 3? We might do week 1 against Arizona for real.
I need somebody to look this up for me. One of either it's Stoner who looks like he's looking at it. Gus, somebody come in here. Somebody's got to tell me how many times in the last decade have they scored 30 points? Because 5 in 1 year, and I might have a heart attack.
Right.
That is absolutely crazy. Trout saying 4, Metaphor with 5, Alcatone going all the way to 7 times, TJ with 5, Allison saying 3, our man Roger with 7, Rockman at 4, Gregory at 8. 8 times, Gregory?
Have you seen our schedule, Greg?
Gregory, by the way, thinks that we're going to be like 5 and like 11 or something. Like we're going to win 5 games, but we're going to win 5 games with this defense, but scoring 30 or more times, 8 times. Gibbs with 3 times. Shout out Gibbs old school, who always makes sure to know that it's the offensive tracker, not just the Sam Howell tracker. Kevin Ford at 4, Stefan at 6, Ethan at 2, Theo at 5, J World 1 time. That actually seems probably the most realistic.
Wow, one
How
time.
many times
That's
in
it.
the last decade?
Realistic. Again, you got to think historically, this is a team that just hasn't put points up the board. I do think it's going to be 3 times that they score. I am interested in seeing where this goes. They might get close a couple times, maybe 27 points here or there. I would just be happy if we can consistently score in the 20s.
Yeah,
we can wait to get to the 30s till next year. Just consistently get to the 20s this year. But I'm very interested in seeing.
All right, what do you got, Trev?
The last decade, Washington Commanders football team and Redskins have scored 30 points or more 18 times.
In a decade.
Yes.
In a decade. That's 160 games minimum.
Yeah.
So
plus a couple years, so it's 102 games worth. Maybe a few playoff games in there.
Maybe. We did it twice in 13, twice in 14, 4 times in 15, 4 times in 16, 2 times in 17, 1 time in 18, 1 time in 19, 1 time in 20, 2 in 21, and 1 this past season against Philly.
Yeah. 100 plus games, and they've scored 30 or more points 18 times.
Yep.
That's less than 20% of your games. Yeah, 1.8 per year that they've scored.
Wow.
3. If we can get 3 this year, I will be over the moon.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I got a little carried away. I said 5 at the beginning. To amend
that's why I'm like 8 from Gregory. We got even if Gregory doesn't think the defense is going to be as good. I mean, you got 7 from Roger. Roger is getting back in this team. Reminder, name change on Roger here. He said 7, and he historically has been very down. But now Scott Turner's gone, and he's getting behind that EB offense. He thinks that we're going to be just absolutely smashing this. That would be, oh man. I'm telling you, 3 and I'm over the moon. If we get 8, I'm on the ground. Someone's gonna have to get the machine out, because good Lord, that would be something.
What do you got, Trev?
The teams that we did that to, starting with the Bears, Chargers, Jaguars, Eagles, Bucks, Saints, Bills. The Bills? When was that? 2015. Oh yeah. Eagles, Cowboys, Browns, Packers, Bears, Vikings, Saints, Packers, Giants, Dallas, Giants, Falcons, Eagles. So pretty much lower tier of the NFL outside of
Well, I mean, each year there's kind of a difference there, but I will say what I like hearing there was there are quite a few NFC East teams on that list, which kind of helps because I think you need that. Gibbs is throwing a 40 burger at least one time. Shout out to our man Gibbs there. All right, Stoner, what is the thing that's got you most excited or worried about going into the season?
I'll tell you what I'm worried about is that I'm so excited. That's what I'm worried about. I said that kind of earlier in the show is that I'm scared because things are going so well and we're just not used to it. By this time, we've either had some sort of controversy or we're hearing that Heineke keeps throwing YOLO balls or Fitzpatrick is on some water slide going down and hurting himself, or you know what I mean? There's always
Garrett Gilbert, our COVID quarterback.
Yeah, there's always something. And right now, you got this new owner, you've got upgrades to the stadium, you've got talent on both sides of the ball that are living up to it, and you've got this quarterback that nobody, I didn't expect to do what he's doing so far. And that's got me worried. It's got me worried that I'm getting Ashburn syndrome and I'm getting it really, 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 really bad. And it's going to put me in the ER. And then someone's going to tell me that, that it was all a dream or something like that. So that's what it is. I'm worried that I'm excited. I want to get crushed.
There's a lot to be excited about. You got the new ownership coming in. You've got these talented players in positions that could be difference makers for Washington. And I think there's a lot to do with that. Will Diggs saying you're going to wake up and we'll be Super Bowl champions. Pinch me now.
Pinch me now.
Pinch me now. I already said the thing I'm most worried about is the offensive line. And if anyone wants to put in there also a worry, or you did a worry, Stoner. So if you wanted to do something you're excited about, I'm going to give a second option here and kind of doubling down on what Trev said with the EB front. But I am excited to see, again, at least average QB play. If Sam Howell is the 15th best quarterback in the league this year, we have won. I don't know what we're winning, but we've won. Okay.
We've won the QB sweepstakes.
We've done it. We've done it. That's how bad the quarterbacks have been here for Washington since Kirk Cousins left. He was probably middle of the pack when he was here. Maybe even some would say a little bit higher. RG3's rookie year was absolutely special. But we've been devoid of doing it. So if we have a guy in his second year who is the 15th best quarterback, then there's a lot of promise going forward for this team.
Yeah.
And that is what I'm most excited about, because it right now looks like we have a quarterback that we might actually see starting not just this season, but next season.
But doesn't that worry you?
It does worry me.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's got to worry you a little bit.
Yeah. We always get Ashburn. It is definitely a problem, but we'll see where it is. Allison saying Sam Howell will be 13 to 15. Metaphor 15th QB gets us participation trophy. He's going top 10. Trout with me here. Howell literally just needs to be average, and we get a near complete offense. O-line just needs work. O-line needs a lot of work.
They do. Do you think
needs a lot of work?
Do you think they pick somebody up, after everybody makes all these cuts and there's 1,000 guys available to be picked up? Do you think they pick up a guy who is potentially could just go right into a starting guard spot? Is that possible that they do that with 2 weeks before the start?
Off the waivers? Probably not.
Yeah.
No, it'll be a depth person who they pick. It's probably someone we might see throughout the season, but that's only because having a healthy line is very difficult there. Gregory, Bruce, both going with the offensive line is the biggest worry. Jay Devine catching up with us as Sam Cosmi has actually been one of the surprises or one of the good things from camp. And Sam Cosmi, by all accounts, has looked good. and the guard spot. And I mean, he should. He's an athletic guy. That's one of the reasons why they took him a few years back ago. He also needs to just stay healthy. Maybe the move away from tackle is what he needs to do that. So we'll see how that goes. Gentlemen, the joint practices have been a lot of fun, but we have a full game to talk about and preview. Now, we will be doing a full preview with our Believe counterparts over there with the Ravens, but we want to do one with you listening right now on our flagship program. So stay with us as we head to the cool down to preview the Monday Night Football game against the Baltimore Ravens.
The cool down is brought to you by Manscaped. Ever since my Nathan started using their products, I can't cool down. Fellas, trust me. Go to Manscaped right now and get 20% off and free shipping by using the code REF. Your ladies will appreciate you. Now back to Trev, Stoner, and my Manscaped man, Nathan.
The Washington Commanders face off against the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football. It is the second preseason game out of 3. Traditionally, when there was 4, the third was the dress rehearsal. It is now expected that this one is going to be the dress rehearsal for the season. How much do we see the starters play in this game, Trev?
Ooh, I'm gonna go ahead and say a whole quarter, maybe even a half.
An entire half?
Depends on how we do in the first quarter or the first few series.
Yeah.
But it's going to be more than it was in the preseason for sure. First game for sure. Just because we've been practicing against these guys all week and it's getting closer to the season. And we kind of want to see if we learn anything from the joint practices. So I say maybe a half to the most, but definitely more than the first game.
All right, Stoner, you agree, disagree? How many snaps are they going to see?
I think it's going to be totally dependent on the success of their early drives. I can totally see the first team offense go out there, go right down the field and score a touchdown, and that's it. And they're done. Get them out of there. What else do they have to prove? They've been practicing against these guys for 2 straight days.
Yeah.
They go out there and they have a very successful drive. Everybody's feeling good about what they did. No mistakes, no major mistakes. Get them out of there. You're done. That's it. We're ready to go. I could see that. Now, that's not necessarily what usually happens in these things. Like I said, you want to see them get it. As a fan, I want to see Sam Howell. I want to see him play the whole game. But he's probably only going to play a half. But as coaches, they kind of know what they got. Again, they saw him in practice against this exact same team for 2 straight days. Right. They know what they got. They don't necessarily need to see him. They want him to get into that feel of the game, the tempo of it and everything, and preparation, get out there, roll it down the field, get him out. That's what I would do. But as a fan, I'd like them to play the whole game.
Stoner, you have a theory, or you think there's some bias in here for you. A team that goes out and scores on their first drive tends to struggle pretty much for the rest of the game. Wouldn't you want to see them kind of work through it, even if they just did that? Because wouldn't that struggle go on to another game, or you wouldn't necessarily see that consistency?
I mean, if it's different though, the full game, they're gonna play the full game. But in this situation, if you just pull them, then all they're left with is the highs, the positives. Everything went well. So I mean, as a fan, I want him to see him play. I want to see him overcome. I want to see him deal with adversity. I want to see them deal with bad things that happen and how they correct it. But I just don't know if that's going to happen because, man, preseason games are just not as important as they used to be. These joint practices, these things hit different, and they haven't had that in the past.
Right. They absolutely are. They take place. And we talked about that a little bit in the Commanders update, the daily update, where these practices, you got to think that they are going up against this competition for hours, right? In a game, you're talking maybe you see, especially preseason game, you see 30 snaps if you play an entire half type deal, that's not a lot of time to really, gauge how well things are going for you against an actual opponent.
Yeah.
Whereas you're going to get a lot more of those reps and times in the 4-hour session, especially 2 4-hour sessions. But Gregory's saying we need a half. Bruce is going to go with at least 1 quarter, but hopefully a full half. Rick Diaz, just a quarter. Trout going down to 2 to 4 drives. Gibbs old school playing a full half, but that's an old school way to do things. We see 3 drives from Roger. I think we're going to see a full half, largely because I think that you're going to see some different things that they want to work out against, in a game time thing with refs, with the clock ticking in a fashion where maybe they get to work a 4-minute drill. Maybe they get to work a 2-minute offense, right? These are the things that I think they want to see up against an opponent in an actual game situation, not a practice session.
Yeah.
So that's why I think we'll see a full half.
Yes.
Things do not go well for whatever reason, then we can see that time either increase or decrease. If it's increased because the offense or the defense hasn't been doing what they needed to do, and they're being put out there to continue working on those things.
And by the way, Nathan,
time if you see something where a starter, maybe comes up limping, and you're like, you know what, we're good, we're done, we're done here. We don't need to see anymore.
And by the way, that theory that you talked about that I had, what did Cleveland do in that game? Cleveland went right down the field on their first drive. Now, they didn't score because they went for it on 4th down, but they went right down the field and then never did it again the rest of the game until the very, very, very end,
right,
when they were trying to tie the game up. Theory's pretty solid. I like that theory.
Some biasness again there with that, but it is interesting. I'll get to that question at the end. It's going to be a very quick answer from the 3 of us. What do you expect to see in this game from the offense, Trev?
Oof. A little trickery. And well put together drives. We don't have to go do the home run every down. We just need to be consistent. Short pass here, nice run. No when to run, no when to pass. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
You want to see another 10 play, 18-minute drive.
I want some people to touch the ball. I want the O-line to get as much work as they can. I want Sam Howell to get as comfortable as he can. If they go right down and score, don't bring him out. Come right back and do it again. See if you can do it again.
Yeah.
Some trickery and just some smart play calling. Know when to home run, know when to bunt, know when to base hit. So yeah.
Are we going to see anything special in the offense, Stoner?
I don't think so, because they don't want to put anything out there on tape for other teams to look at for the regular season. But I agree with Trev in that you want to see not just the ones, but you want to see the 2s have the proper tempo, getting in and out of the huddle properly, moving down the field offensively and defensively, the same thing, stopping the other team. Because I don't think we talked enough about what the 2s did offensively with Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett played pretty well in that Cleveland game.
Yeah, he did.
And you need him to be able to run this offense effectively, just because of the history of the quarterback position here, with whether it's just bad play or injuries or whatever. The number 2 always plays. How many years has it been since a guy played an entire 16 or 17 game schedule? Kirk Cousins was probably the last time. So the number 2 guy's got to be ready. So I need to see that, believe it or not. I need to see that the 2s, the Jacoby Brissett's, the Mitchell Tinsleys, the Chris Rodriguez's, the Andre Jones Jr.'s, whatever. I need to see them ready to play, and not just the ones. Of course, we want to see the ones do it, but I need to see those guys perform. They don't have to score a ton of points. They don't have to get all these crazy sacks or whatever. I just need, it's been a long time since we've had a team that we could just watch them go out there and be a competent football team. That's what I need to see.
What I want to see is a quick start. Washington against the Browns struggled to kind of move. They had 10 plays in that first drive, or they had 10 yards on 8 plays. It was just not great. Some missed opportunities, some penalties. I need to see them come out the gates and move the ball down the field and put points up. This was something Washington has had an issue with under Ron Rivera, is putting points up on a first drive. I'm not even just talking touchdowns here. For Ron Rivera, even a field goal on that first drive can be something where the team has struggled to get. So if that's Scott Turner's issue and EB can fix that, then great, because this team needs to be able to put up points consistently and play from ahead. This defense has been good, and they don't necessarily play with the big league. I want to see a 14-point lead where Chase Young and Montez Sweat get to pin their ears back. So on the offensive side of the ball, I want to see a quicker start. I want to see them get somewhere. Of course, the second drive that Washington got, they started from their own end zone, ended up with a safety with that poor offensive line there. We will again see the onesie, and actually I found another Commanders onesie that will look different than the Washington football team onesie. So I will again bring back the rotation of the onesies, so do not worry about that. I didn't decide. EP told me onesies are not for preseason games. So
what about if it's a onesie in a preseason game where you stop the opponent's 24-25 game winning streak, preseason winning streak? Is that worthy of a onesie?
We'll have to get with EP on that one. Give me an answer in the chat. Give me some ammo if you want to see the onesie if Washington beats the ball.
I gave you a pretty good one there.
Yeah, it's a pretty big one. That's a pretty good one.
You're beating your rival.
I could get Commandalorian. I could get EP a matching onesie. There's actually a really nice Sharpie one, but that's not what everyone's here for. Everyone's here for this preview. Let's continue on with the defensive side of the ball real quick. 2 sentences, Trev. What do you got for us on the defensive side of the ball from Washington? What should we expect?
Go get Lamar Jackson. Create turnovers.
Okay. You think Lamar will play?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Did he play their first game?
I don't know, but he will play this one.
Yeah.
I mean, at least put some pressure on him, but create turnovers for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Stoner?
Yeah, again, I want to see them defensively. I want to see that tempo. I just want to see them put pressure on who's ever playing quarterback. If it's Lamar, that's great. I don't want to see OBJ out there working our guys, or I don't want to see Zay Flowers, who is a Jahan Dotson clone. He's really, really good. I don't want to see him working our guys, and defensive line not getting enough pressure on Lamar so that he has time to find these guys. So I want to see an effort out there that their heads not getting too big of all this talk of how they whooped the Ravens around for a couple of days. Yeah. So go out there and do it again and break this streak and shut those Raven fans up, because they're a little bit annoying. They're not as bad as Philly fans, but
yeah, poor Stoner just north of Baltimore there has to deal with a lot of the Baltimore love, and then Philly's not too far away, getting that all the time. From the defensive side of the ball, I want containment. That's what I want to see, and we should have a decent game there for Washington's. They just tend to also start the season slow. Yeah. So can they be consistent enough and get together? And also mobile quarterbacks tend to be an issue. And with Colt McCoy on the horizon for week 1, you just never know. Never know what to say. Sorry, had to throw that one out there. We're, of course, talking about the Ravens preview. We're going to be talking more about it, but we did want to tell you that this was brought to you by Manscaped. Head out to manscaped.com. Use the promo code REF to get yourself 20% off and free shipping. I saw some people telling me that I need to hit the Manscaped. Now, Stoner's been telling me I need a haircut. That's an entire different issue, and I probably do. But actually, I have to say, I did not groom today, but I've been rather pleased with the Manscaped grooming kit that they provided me. My beard is soft. I keep it managed. Before, if you remember when it kind of grew out, it was very scraggly. Now I don't have to have that because I have beard conditioner. I have beard balm. I have ways to be able to get this thing under control and of course, clip it up to keep it nice and clean. And all that's thanks to Manscaped. So make sure you head out to manscaped.com, use the promo code REF, 20% off and free shipping. Let's get to the nitty gritty, guys. We talked about this 24-game win streak for the Baltimore Ravens. Do we end that streak, Trev?
No.
Ooh.
We don't. We don't.
All right.
I want us to, but we don't. We just don't.
All right. Stoner, do we end up beating it?
Yup.
Oh, we got one vote yes, one vote no. Let us know. Bruce is saying yes. Trout is saying yes. Gregory's saying no. TJ saying yes, we break it.
Nathan?
You're going to say no.
For the ref team, I am going to say yes, of course we're going to. Why would I go against the Commanders here in a preseason game? No, Washington should have a good opportunity to be as good as anybody. One, the streak has to end. Washington has ended regular season streaks against the Steelers, against the Eagles. Why not take down one more team from up north with Baltimore and their 24-game preseason game win streak there?
We never
got to end that one. It's this game doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Jake's agreeing with us that yes. And I think that is even more. I think the only one who has actually something to prove are the Washington Commanders. Baltimore doesn't care about the streak, right? That's 25 games or 24 games. Their fans care about the game, Stoner.
I don't know. If I remember last
players and everybody, they agree with this?
If I remember last year, there was something that happened towards the end of the game, and Harbaugh did something to ensure that they kept the streak alive. Or I'll look it up and maybe I'll put it in the notes afterwards. But there was something that he wanted to make sure he kept the streak alive. Like he got mad at another coach for doing. I don't remember what it was. I'll look it up.
Yeah, you'll have to look that up. But I just think that this game is something that Washington again is wanting to prove. Correct me if I'm wrong. Monday Night Football at FedEx Field.
Correct.
Okay. So this is going to be Josh Harris's first home game.
Oh.
Yep.
And they gave him the game ball from his first preseason game.
Yeah.
They're gonna win one for the Gipper.
No.
At home, his first home game, and then they can lose. They can lose next week. They're not going to lose against the Ravens this week. So that's my prediction as far as that's concerned.
All right.
We will see Lamar Jackson, but we're going to see a lot of the twos, I think, against the Ravens, unless they need to really work things out. But we will see. Do you got that answer, Stoner, before we wrap things up
I'm
here?
going to have to look a little deeper. But I just remember something last year with a coach from the other side or something, or I don't remember what it was.
Yeah,
I put
remember
Lamar Jackson in the fourth quarter of a preseason.
I remember there was some shenanigans. You'll have to pull that one up there.
Yeah.
There has been a question, and of course we stream live every Wednesday here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And here on YouTube, we give you an opportunity to interact with us and post questions. Will Diggs had posted a question to us earlier, and I could probably scroll, but you guys have been chatting us up, and I love that. So do not stop the chat. Will, if you're listening, we're like 10 seconds delayed between comment sections posting. But if you can bring up your question again about the name change is what this is. This is what we're going to end on here. Is there is a petition going around. I believe that petition has hit 6 figures now. I think we're over 100,000. It has been talked about on Pat McAfee's show. So I know we all know about it.
Yep.
And Will was wanting to know, do we think the name will actually return to the Redskins? Trev, why? Yes or no?
No.
And the why?
Because it's just too much. It's too much controversy. It's too much drama. It's too much politics in that name. We just got out of that with the previous regime. We're starting fresh. I get it, why people want it back, because it was the glory days when we were good and yada, yada. But it's a new era in Washington. It's not saying you can't wear your Redskins memorabilia or Redskins merchandise still, but we're not going back. It's too much involved to go back to that name. Are we changing the name again? Possibly, but not back to Redskins.
Yeah.
Yep. Stoner, you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that. For all those reasons and then some. It doesn't matter what you or I think. It doesn't matter if you have a million signatures, and it's fine. I applaud people who do that. I would never, do. I mean, I'd sign it, but I would never be part of a movement for a name change or whatever. No. But that's exactly right from Tommy T. What does Verizon think about the name Redskins? Mm-hmm. What does FedEx think? And it's not some, just some guy. It's the FedEx Corporation who has to deal with the backlash. Ask Bud Light what it's like to get backlash for something that's unpopular. And I don't care how many signatures that they get, as long as the corporate sponsors are unwilling to go back to Redskins, it's not going back to Redskins. Nope. There's one reason and one reason only that Dan Snyder changed the name, and it's because of the money. And when FedEx and Nike and Pepsi all said, if you don't change the name, we're pulling our money. And that's the only reason that it happened before, and that's the only reason it won't go back. It will change. I agree with you, Trev, at some point, or it could change. But it's not going back to Redskins. Ever.
Not going to happen. I had an entire diatribe about this a few weeks ago, so I'm not going to extend that one. It's not going to change. Doesn't matter if that gets a million signatures. Let me correct myself. It's not going to change to the Redskins. Whether or not it changes later on, that might happen, possibly tied into a new stadium, all that. It's not going to be anything recent, soon. I don't think that it's going to matter if Washington can start stringing together double-digit win seasons. People will come around to the Commanders. Yes, we'll always miss the name Redskins. Yes, I would very fond of that name as well, but it's just never going to go back there. That is a fact. Jack put it in the books, just like put Washington in the books over the Ravens on Monday Night Football. As mentioned, we plan on doing our live play-by-play and commentary. Make sure you come out and join us on Monday Night Football. It's a lot of fun. You could just turn down the volume on the TV and watch us, because we will give you the play-by-play a lot better than those people being paid to do it. But of course, if you want to send some money our way, we won't hate you for that as well. I'm Nathan. That's Stoner. Trev is back in the seat. Love to see it. Again, we stream live every Wednesday here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We're on the Believe Network, so you can listen to us anywhere that you can find your audio podcast. Make sure you support us wherever you are at. Make sure you hit that like button. We saw triple figures here on the live broadcast, so we appreciate all the love and the support we get. Everyone in the comment section, love to see you. And until next time.
Welcome back, Trev.
Thank you.
Be a fan.
Little fella.